Hi guys, welcome to the .org Thought Corner. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of a look behind the scenes at PIR. Today we have our special guest, Paul Diaz, who is the Vice President of Policy. He has decades of policy development, compliance, and analysis experience, and he's been an active participant in the ICANN community since like 2004 and has served in so many leadership positions, including the chair of the registry stakeholder group. So here at PIR, not only does he lead our policy department, but he also leads our education and outreach efforts, which fits beautifully into our topic for the day, which is the human rights assessment, human rights impact assessment. I can never get that I correct. So, hi, Paul.
How are you, Lena?
Good, how are you?
All right.
Happy 93rd day of March with Corona.
I hear you. It's been rough, but we certainly have it better than some, so I can't complain.
I know, right? It's been rough, but at the same time, I think a lot of lessons have been learned throughout this time that will like move people forward professionally and personally. Hopefully people have been centered with all of this and gotten good exercise in the house. I don't know.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I hope so. So this human rights assessment that we took, what exactly is it?
Yeah, so a human rights assessment is a rigorous examination of a company's policies and procedures to see how they line up with respect for human rights based on key documents like the UN Guiding Principles or the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and other activities. And it's a deep dive or a fulsome review done by external experts from Article 19 and Danish Institute of Human Rights. And they sit down with us and we go through everything, just have a lot of discussions about what we're doing, what else we may do. And then when they provide their report and their recommendations, there's sort of a second phase where we talk about how we were assessed, what recommended improvements we might be able to make, and a plan of action that we can undertake.
Okay. So in order to prepare to be evaluated, was there anything specific that PIR had to do, and how long did that take?
Yeah, the process, as I said, is really comprehensive. So in our case, we started just talking to people at Article 19 back at the beginning of 2019. Mm-hmm. But because of some personnel changes and scheduling conflicts and whatnot, we didn't really get into the process until the end of the year. But the preparatory stage, their review of all our policies, making all that information available to them, it's several weeks, almost a month. So by the end of January, early February, the analysts came to us at our headquarters in Reston. They were with us for 2.5 days, at which time we had a lot of conversations. It was basically 2.5 full days. They also did a training session for all staff, which was really helpful, useful to help everybody kind of see the big picture and understand what it is we're doing. Then when they went back, they prepared their report, their analysis, a couple weeks to do that. And then sometime thereafter, once we'd had a chance to digest the recommendations, we got back together again, worked on an implementation plan, and that's where we are.
And so this covered all areas of the business, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really comprehensive. While there are key areas, you can imagine human rights policies,
right.
Human resources policies, how we're actually conducting the technical operations of a registry, and then everything in between. It's designed to be interactive with all the various departments. They want you to think of things not just from the particular niche that you are responsible for in your day-to-day, but sitting with your colleagues, trying to think how it all fits together and how you can make it even better by collaborating on improvements.
Okay. Sounds really good. And I remember that process, and it was a really, really eye-opening process. So why do you think it was critical for PIR, especially as an internet infrastructure provider, to partner with the Danish Institute for Human Rights and Article 19 for this particular assessment?
So for Public Interest Registry, we think of ourselves as an exemplary registry operator. And what that means is that we have to walk our talk. While we espouse, and as we'll get to, the assessment showed, we are doing well in terms of respecting human rights and whatnot. It's really important that we get involved and actually participate in one of these. In fact, we were the first generic top-level domain operator to undergo one of these assessments. There have only been two before us, one by the Dutch registry operator and one by an Irish-based registrar. And so again, it shows the leadership and commitment to being an exemplary operator that we got involved and participated in this comprehensive process.
Mm-hmm. And while we won't get into like the nitty-gritty details of our results, how did PIR do overall, and what changes or updates have been made to improve the results of our impact on customers?
So as I hinted, and as expected, PIR was assessed, we assessed very well. In fact, we were found to be overwhelmingly responsive and compliant with the standards for respecting human rights, and very few of the things that we're doing have negative impacts. But as you might expect, there's always opportunity for improvement.
Yes.
And so working with the expert analysts, we came up with an action plan that include several key takeaways. One, to have a more explicit recognition of human rights principles in all of our policies. They were sort of there implicitly, it's obvious, but an explicit statement to underscore our commitment. We will also have forthcoming an appeal process for those who had their names suspended under our anti-abuse policy. And this is important because this gets to the human right, your access to remedy. If you feel you've been wronged in some way, there will now be a clear, straightforward, easy to understand process to appeal the suspension. Similarly, we will develop a expected standards of behavior document for all the vendors that we interact with. And this is something, again, that will provide us an opportunity to show where we stand on all the key human rights issues, and our expectation that the vendors that we work with will similarly strive to live up to those same standards. Finally, and something I'm pleased to say that we're already doing in large part, we will commit to providing more information about our human rights activities in our annual report, and specifically providing more data and context around law enforcement requests for information, takedown information, things like that, and how we responded to those initiatives. We already provide this data publicly on our website on a quarterly basis, but we've agreed we could do more and kind of flesh it out a bit more in our annual report. And we'll start doing that with next year's report.
Looking forward to it. So what are some of the benefits that came from the assessment so far, and why would you recommend other organizations or companies take the step to ensure that they are respecting human rights from every angle?
I think I hinted it, because it's a very comprehensive process, when the analysts came to us in Reston, all of the colleagues across the various departments, we were all in the same sessions. And one of the huge advantages of this process is that even when the company is doing well, there's always room for improvement, and you gain a much broader perspective. Working with the experts who have a lot of experience and can say, well, have you considered this? Or they're aware of other companies that are doing it a different way. And then you get to interact with the colleagues because it sparks ideas about, oh, we could change things in a way that would be mutually beneficial. It would be great for PIR, it would be great for our end users. So the process is really good because it brings you together, and it also kind of expands your perspective on how to comply and how to improve your activities.
Yeah, totally agreed. And I know that you hinted at this throughout the conversation, but what would you tell our audience are a few things that you see PIR constantly doing, or any new initiatives that we can talk about without getting in trouble to ensure fairness for the rights of our employees, our stakeholders, internet users, everyone?
Sure. So as we already hinted, we'll have those four major recommendations that we are going to implement. But I think, what's very important for this process, it was important for us, and I think it would apply to others, is that all organizations probably have a built-in expectation that they're doing well, that if they perform and have an assessment performed, that they're going to score well. But what happens is once you get into the process, you realize that there's always so much more.
Yeah.
There's, that perspective that the process brings to your thinking, to your operations. There's tremendous value in that, and it's important because ultimately we are, we fill an important place in the internet ecosystem, and in the DNS community in particular. Registry operator, registrars, we kind of have a responsibility to do all that we can. And again, most of these things are things that you're probably already doing, but by going through the assessment, you develop a greater appreciation for the scope and a lot of ideas for details. And it gives you the ability to act on that, which ultimately is the important part. Like we said, walk our talk.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Totally agreed. And it was a really good experience from my perspective. And I think everyone really and thoroughly enjoyed it. And we all at least walked away with something that we were able to take away and implement into our lives and our work style and the company from that assessment and from the meetings that we were involved in. So
Yeah, it's
thank you for
so good to hear, Lena, because again, everybody in the particular area that they operate in have certain expectations and responsibilities and whatnot, and that's good. But when you get the training and go through the process together and you hear the other departments weighing in with, they think it's a great idea, they're not sure how to do it, and you start brainstorming about solutions and whatnot, it is a powerful tool, a good experience, and something that is, ultimately something we should all be doing.
Yeah, completely agree. Thank you, Paul, for sitting down with me and talking about the HRIA. I got
Thank
the
you.
acronym right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again. And thanks to the audience for watching. We will see you next time with another episode of the .org Thought Corner. Bye.